What's good? 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 Yo, 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 yo. It's the homie Kynard with the homie Britt on a Wednesday. I'd like to welcome you to Dope Dialogue Podcast. Glad that you're here with us. Just the middle of the week. What's going on, Britt? How you feeling?
I'm good. Getting through the week. How about you?
I'm still here. I'm getting to the grind.
Making it.
I'm making it. We got some nice things to, going on for y'all today. Today we're gonna talk about mental health, suicide awareness as well. We will have a special guest on the show, Nikki Lynette out of Chicago, artist as a musical. We're gonna interview her, talk with her for a little bit. Then we're gonna get into some news, talk about what's going on in hip hop. We got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air coming back. I think that's coming back. We're gonna talk about that tonight. We're gonna talk about some different things with the social media apps, right? We changed up Instagram and changed up Twitter with fleets. We're gonna talk about fleets a little bit. And then we're gonna get into some off the top, and hopefully we entertain you this Wednesday. Yo, what's good, Sam? Shout out Sam in the building.
Hey, Sam.
Look, man, we glad Sam could join us today. We're going to have some live call in if y'all want to have that. Before we get into that, though, look, I want to talk to y'all about mental health. What's crazy is last week, I discussed how I had a little getaway. Was good, Tony. I discussed that I had to get away, from my current home environment, right? My home environment was mad stressful for me. I had a lot going on. I had a lot going on in my day job. I had a lot going on with music. I had a lot going on with trying to learn and run my business. I had a lot going on with trying to uh, help my kids through school. I can't even say that I was teaching them. I was trying to help them through school. And what I noticed is there was a moment where I sat to myself and I said, I wonder if this is what depression feels like. I know that I'm in a funk. I don't feel good about anything. I'm snapping at everyone. I don't want to be bothered. I'm short. And at that particular point, I had to question myself, is what you're going through normal? Do you need some help? Do you need to get away? And I called one of my homies, shout out to Marv, he's been on the show. And I was ready to quit music. I was done. I was like, nah, it's not worth it. I'm tired. I'm stressed out. And I don't have an outlet. Now, if you've been in a part of the show, you've listened to me, you know that I drive Uber. And a lot of times driving for me is a stress reliever. It's where I get a good portion of my thinking done. And in the last month and a half to 2 months, I hadn't been driving. I've been in the house constantly. Now, I'm not one of those people that, I believe in social distancing. I haven't been out to have a good time or party. I ain't did none of that since we've been in the pandemic. But I have had to get out of the house, whether it be a walk around the corner, whether it be in my car driving other people around with the window down so we don't breathe in if they got the corona. I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying? And so what I noticed is that my routine had changed. I hadn't been able to get out of the house. I hadn't been able to find productive ways to release my stress. Now that being said, I don't know if that works for everybody. In general, I'm not a person that has been, I think, depressed to the point where I felt like I had to go talk to somebody, but I had to go talk to somebody based on what I was going through. Even to the point where I was having some self-destructive thoughts. I'm gonna just be honest. I'll be transparent. I was having self-destructive thoughts. It wasn't suicidal, it wasn't like that, but it was more that I was concerned about my life and whether or not I was gonna wake up the next day. I was having anxiety. I was eating poorly. I'm a diabetic. My sugar was through the roof. I knew this. Psychologically, I wasn't there. And I hit my homie. He said, yo, you just need to get away, bro. He was like, I went to Cancun. I was like, even during the pandemic, he was like, yeah, I had to get out. I talked to one of my other homies and, he said the same thing. Yo, Kynard, you probably just need to get away. And so I told y'all last week, I went to Houston and I sat in a hotel for 3 days by myself. And it was the most peace that I've had in the past 7 months. I tell you that story because as African Americans, as a black man, it's not normal for us to discuss a perceived weakness, such as mental health. It's something that we are very, 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 it's just taboo in the African American community. We don't talk about it a lot because we always feel like we have to project strength. We have to project that we have it all together. We have to project that we on our square. And for me, I'm going to be honest, if I didn't have my two homies, if I didn't tell them what I was going through, if I didn't explain to them what was happening to me, I don't know if I would have had the thought to be like, nah, let me just drive out to Houston for a couple of days. Let me go sit in a hotel, order Uber Eats, and watch college football and sleep. And then enjoy the drive. It was a 2.5 hour ride out to Houston. And And I loved every minute of it. I rolled my windows down. I had my smoke. You know, I'm listening to Busta Rhymes. I escaped. I left whatever my current reality was and I put myself in a different place so that I might be able to breathe. And so, it's a situation where I want to talk about my experiences because I think that it can help other people. I know that domestic abuse has gone up since the pandemic. I know that people inflicting harm on themselves has gone up since the pandemic. A lot of times when you are being constrained to your home or your movements are being, controlled as far as you can't be in your normal routines and do the normal things that you do, if you don't find an outlet, if you don't find a way to deal with it, it can creep up on you. I was driving Uber in October, early October, and I had a gentleman who flew in to see his daughter, him and his wife. And I was like, wow, why did y'all do that? And he was like, we had to come because she wasn't returning our calls. We had to call the police for a wellness check. She would come to the door, but she wouldn't open the door. And so, it was a situation where they were worried about their daughter and she wasn't responding. She lived by herself and she pretty much had barricaded herself within the home. Eventually, the police came a second time and she opened the door for the police and they were able to talk with her and somewhat, be there and be a support system for her. But I was taking him to the airport and he told me, no, my wife decided to stay so we could make sure that, she's doing all right. A lot of people right now who are alone. There are a lot of people right now who don't have people to talk to, that they can't get it off. And you might come across them in public and it's a situation where they may react and not be in control of their emotions due to the pandemic. I sat down and I went to the store and I sat there and I realized yesterday, yo, we in the middle of a pandemic. And while we trying to deal with it, it's a bit overwhelming. You standing in line, you 6 feet from the next person. Everyone has on masks. 7 months, it's still real. And so all I can say at this point is to check on your people. Shout out to Manifest. Yo, homie, I was going to call you. For those that don't know, Manifest is a regular on the show. He come in. That's my dude. I be hitting him up. And it was at one point where I was going to call you, but I ain't got enough information, Manifest, that after I talked to my peoples, I was like, all right, look, I ain't going to quit music. Not, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to just shoot. And I had my solution. But it's love, homie, because me and Manifest, we talk usually once or twice a month as brothers. At this particular point, I would tell you, talk to your people, check on your people. Even if it's a text message, yo, you cool? For those that are on my text message list, look, I send messages of positivity all the time. All the time. I'll shoot a message out. Yo, I hope that you blessed. Be safe out here. If you want to get a text message, look, if you want to get a text, let me put it in the chat. Number is 574-807-6957. Look, that's my text list. If you want, look, I'll send you a text. I'll check on you if that's what you need. Shout out to Nico. What's good, bro? If you watching this and you just want some inspiration, jump on the text list. I'll shoot you a text. But I want people to be checked on because what we going through is real right now. There's a lot of craziness going on. Brittany, how you doing? I'm gonna check on you, Brittany. How you doing during? How's the mental health going during the pandemic right now?
I think I'm doing pretty good actually. Um, there are times when I miss what was normal, um, and it makes me slightly sad, but I don't think that I've gotten, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't gotten to a point where um I felt a, l- a level of hopelessness that I feel that other people have expressed to me that they have felt. Um, I, like you, the other weekend, I went on a trip to Palm Springs, but I went for my cousin's birthday. However, because she lives alone, she lives away from family. She's expressed to me a couple times like, this is getting rough. Like, I live in this little apartment. I work, I sleep, I do everything. I entertain myself in this space and I'm tired of being in here. So I try to make sure that people that have expressed to me that they are having a difficult time, that I do reach out to them, whether it's just a text message or I'll FaceTime somebody for a little bit or whatever. And I've had a couple of people that I'm around semi regularly, like my business partners. They're just like, "Bro, you are always on the phone." But I'm like, I'm just checking on my folks, I guess, just to make sure people are straight. We don't have the time that we had in person to spend with each other like we used to. So I be on the phone a lot, but it's not bad. If that means someone feels a little bit better for their day, then let's be on the phone. Let's chop it up for a minute. Let's shoot some text messages, send an email, whatever it is. Like you said, just check on your people and make sure that people are straight. Because sometimes people won't tell you, but if you ask, they just might. So
Yeah, I agree. You never know what you're gonna get. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie. When I sent the text message out, where I was checking, yo, I hope you blessed and you okay. Somebody did respond back and said, you know what, actually I'm not. I just found out that 5 of my family members have COVID and they in the hospital on ventilators.
ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
wow.
Um, and I think that what we forget is if it's not personally affecting us, we don't realize that there are other people around us that we know that are going through it. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, communication, even my homie Sam, I love Sam. Sam will hit me up. He in the chat. Sam will hit me up like, yo, Kynard, you straight? And I appreciate
Mhm.
those messages because at that point I realized, yo, he's thinking about me. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants to make sure that I'm good. And so if you don't have those people, you know, find, your people that you can check on. And, you know, I'll tell my sister, like, yo, I'm in Houston. Yo, just send me a text in the morning. Make sure I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? So, I have contact and people know where I'm at. Even if you gotta tell people to check on you, make sure you do that because it's important. Um, Let me ask you this: what do you feel like you are doing to deal with your stress right now?
Um, what I've been doing lately for the past, I don't know if this is really well, it is. It has a little bit to do with stress management. For the past couple weeks, at every night before I go to sleep, I make a to-do list for the next day. Um, on my to-do list, I try to fill things in different categories. One being like, do something that I need to do around the house. Cool. Do something that I need to do for business. Put that on the list. Do something that I need to do personally, whether it's like make your doctor's appointment or pay extra on this student loan bill. Something that's important but personal. But the last thing is like I try to put on my list every day is like do something that I want to do. Something leisure, whether it's call this person that I haven't spoke to this month or go pick up my grandma and take her for lunch at the park or go to the beach for 30 minutes. Something that I like to do that I might not remember to do, but I think these little things that I'm trying to incorporate every day to remember, like give yourself something that you like, has been helpful. And also helped me be a little bit more productive for the past few weeks. So I like my little list. It's working out thus far. I don't know how long this list is gonna keep up, but for now it's good.
So what I will say, that's super dope. I'm glad you have a list. I got a lot of work. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, there are certain stresses to it, and I'm able to alleviate it now. My father actually came in this past weekend, and that really brought me up. To have him
Mm,
around, we laughed and talked and watched some football. Um, and so I agree with you. You definitely have to have your list. I think that I actually do find some comfort in my work. I've been doing morning vlogs.
yeah.
Of course, I got the podcast. You watching the morning vlogs. I've been learning how to run my own ads and do my own advertising. And so for me, shoot, I had certifications for my day job. I got a ton of stuff going on. But where I find, a lot of my stress relievers, I've started to get more into the audiobooks while I take walks.
Mm.
Um, I try and, usually I wouldn't watch TV, but I actually try and get an hour of television in a day to actually settle my mind. And I don't watch no news. I try and watch something entertaining. You know, I
Does watching the internet count? Because I sure don't watch TV.
well, the internet can, but the hard part for me is like you'll get lost in social media, and that I don't know if that's a stress reliever or not. Like it can be, but
It's sometimes a stress
yeah,
inducer. Let's
sometimes
be
it's a
real.
stress inducer. Sometimes it is a distraction.
Yeah, for sure.
From and not a good one. You know what I'm saying? Not a good distraction, but a distraction from what you trying to get accomplished. Sam said, yeah, his phone been stuck in his hand. Um, and so,
Sidebar, can we shout out my cup just real quick?
oh yeah,
Just
shout out to Cup. What's on the? Oh, is that
it's my favorite movie. It's Sister Act 2.
Sister Act two?
Kynard
I was
said,
saying, look like Sister Act,
mhm,
but that's the second one.
mhm. Lauren Hill is necessary, but yeah, Sister Act
Yeah, that's most definitely. Shout out to Sister Act two. Nico said he likes to
2.
listen before bedtime idea. Said thanks for sharing that. He look, Twitter is popping. I've been on Twitter way more
Boy,
than I've probably been on anything, and I know we're gonna talk about that later. But Twitter sometimes can be toxic.
Twitter is a
Man, look,
place.
but it's lit.
It is a
I feel
place.
like you can get into more real conversations.
Oh, just like your new favorite.
Oh yeah, Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse is dope.
Mhm.
Clubhouse is dope.
It's
I mean,
it's an interesting place.
for people like me who like to talk, or you got a podcast, I think it's probably the perfect platform. Um, we'll talk about that some later, but I think that the socials has definitely been on bump as of recent. I just try and avoid the BS. I like to follow the music, but even that has been crazy. I think that we've seen a lot of stress in the music industry, right? We've
Mhm.
seen a lot of violence in the music industry recently. And so,
Mhm.
a lot of it just comes down to like people not having much to do.
Not having much to do and not having much in general right
I
now.
would say I would say both, really. I think it's a
Yeah,
combination of both, really.
for sure.
If
It's a breeding ground for a whole bunch of shit.
yeah. I mean,
It's a perfect storm, really.
yeah. I mean, look, it just
You got time, you ain't got no money, you might not have this, you can't see your family, you've been in the house. It's just a perfect little festering spot for
right.
all the little negative things that can come up.
Well, let's be honest. Violence has definitely gone up. Not just domestic, not just self harm. Violent crime has gone up. I mean, I just
Mm-hmm.
watched a clip in New York where two people were fighting over a spot. They were fighting over a parking spot, and like they was in fisticuffs. Like they was punching, and then somebody had looked like a bat, and after it looked like it had dissipated, the dude got in his car. He was trying to turn. The guy with the bat ran up on the car and hit the car like he wasn't done fighting, and he got ran over. And the dude took
Yikes.
his car and ran it through the front end of a shop. Now, I mean, what was shown to us, um,
That's crazy.
what was shown to us was like you didn't get to see the guy, but you could hear the impact. And it sounded like
You're
a
the
thud,
boom, boom,
thud,
boom,
thud, thud. You know what I'm
boom,
saying?
boom, boom, boom. That's
Right.
wheels,
And
wheels,
I can
wheels.
guarantee you when he was swinging that bat, he did not know he was getting ran over today. You know,
Oh no, that wasn't in his plan.
I don't think he knew that. And so, once again, I know that people have short fuses. I mind people to be as polite as possible, but it seemed like people was going through, parking lots and looking to rob other people. Like I'm not gonna lie, I got mines on me.
Holiday
Yeah,
season.
I got mines on me. I don't care where I go. Now I
I hear that more and more. It's so prevalent for people to be like, "Oh, I keep the thump," but I'm like, everybody got guns.
yeah, I
Every
mean,
everybody got them.
look,
I feel like if I had one, I'd be tempted, and I
well,
don't want
I
that
don't have the
temptation.
temptation because I move with peace. I don't mean
Isn't
anybody
that
ill
real
will.
kumbaya? That's
What's that?
cute. I said that was real nice and cute and
I do
kumbaya. That
though.
was sweet.
I look
I want good for
for
everybody. It's
those
just here for
that
protection.
know my energy radiates peace. But don't take the kindness for weakness because I'm fully prepared to defend myself. Why? Because I have responsibilities and people that I need to get back to.
Right.
And at this point, I would rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Like I said, people are in Walmart and hold on one second. I think we getting a call. Great. We got our special guest calling in. Let me go ahead and introduce before we get started. Our special guest calling in, we got Nikki Lynette. Nikki is a musician, a suicide survivor, and a mental health thug. How you doing, Nikki? You all right?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having
Look,
me.
we thank you for coming on to the Dope Dialogue podcast. We're super dope to have you on. Uh, it's great. We're talking about mental health awareness. Uh, and as I was preparing for the interview, one of the things that struck me is that you're a suicide survivor as well as a mental health advocate. Can you just give us a little bit of background um, on who you are and how you got to this point? I do know you have a musical coming out called Get Out Alive, but for those that don't know you, that listen to the podcast, that are watching, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nikki Lynette. I sing, rap, write, and produce, and I make what I call social impact art. So, mental health kind of informs all of my music and everything that I create, and all the experiences that I create, because it's what informs my work. It's what get me out the bed to talk about. Because just like doing music after having a mental break, just doing music by itself for me wasn't enough. Like it didn't get me out the bed. It didn't excite me to do anything. But like doing social impact art, it makes me want to create. It makes me want to talk to people. It makes me want to get up and be loud and vocal and get in people's face. So yeah, that's what I'm about.
That's super dope. Look, let me ask you this. As a black woman, what is your take on the stigma of black people in our black communities not really wanting to have the mental health discussion?
One thing that I think is that will help a lot with us navigating mental health as Black people is for us to understand that it's not like everybody, everywhere, every nationality, every ethnic group, every social class experiences mental health issues. So us as Black people, this will be an excellent time for us to get rid of that idea that we have to be twice as strong, twice as hard, twice as good to be seen as good enough.
Right.
Like, that ain't a thing. And if we can understand that and be honest about the fact that we are human, and just because we deal with so much adversity and we've had to deal with so much stress and so much hardship, that don't mean that we are weak if we have mental issues.
Agreed.
Like, everybody has it. We don't have to, like, Black people are human beings too. You know what I'm saying?
I totally.
So we deserve the same humanity. Oh yeah, I was just saying, like, we have the same humanity as anybody else.
Right.
So,
well, I think a lot of the things that we go through as a community, once again, is that idea that if you go and talk to somebody about the problems that you have, I would say if anybody needed talk, is Black people need to talk to some people. Just based on our childhood traumas, based on the racism that we experience, based on the sexual abuse that we experience, as a community, I think that we are probably the most tortured of any ethnic group, in the world, really, if we being honest, being taken from our homeland and our heritage, and not having a true identity. If anybody needs to talk about what it is they're going through, is Black people. But that's my opinion. What are your thoughts, Brittany?
I mean, your opinion isn't wrong. It's just not. It doesn't necessarily speak to what I actually said, though, because what I said was that I think that the way to get to the point where we can have real conversations about this stuff is for us to realize that everybody goes through it and take away this illusion of the Black superhuman. Because, like, this idea, oh, Black people don't get sick. Oh, Black people, they'll be fine. Yeah, Black women who are pregnant, they're just complaining. That's the reason why so many Black women are dying when they're giving birth, because doctors don't listen. That's the reason why people think that it's normal for single Black mothers to have to raise children by themselves, because Black women are just stronger. They should be able to do it. And that's just not fair. We're as human as everyone else. We don't get to be.
Right.
But at some point, like, at what point do we acknowledge that that's not healthy? Like, at what point do we actually say, no, it's not okay. It's not right that single Black moms are being treated like, like being expected to raise households on their own and expected to be able to function that way. It's not okay that Black men who might be from the street are being considered thugs and being treated that way in life and having opportunities that are available to them limited. Like, those things aren't okay. It ain't gonna be society that start being kind. It ain't gonna be society say, hey, Black people, you're human. Like, yeah, nah, we gotta do it. It's our responsibility.
But let me ask you this.
I think that the first step to that is just acknowledging your humanity.
Do you think that that's something that we impose upon ourselves as a community? Is that something that we as Black people, like myself as a Black man, saying no, that the Black woman just has to be strong? Is that the way we look at each other, or is that the way that outsiders look at us, right? Because I find that to be more of an internal image situation. You know what I'm saying? Or am I wrong, right? Is it, do you understand the question that I'm asking? Is this something
I understand
that we have to change?
I think it's a good question. The only reason I don't really know if I'm in a position to answer that, I'm the kind of person, if I get sick, like if I catch a cold, I'm not trying to figure out how I caught the cold. Like, dang, what did I do to catch this cold? That's not really. My whole thing is I'm going toward the solution because I have no power in the past. I can't go back in the past and uncatch it. I got this cold now. So what am I going to do to get through this cold? I think that's the part of it that I try to focus on, because that's where I have power. I have power in the future. I have choices that I can make in the future. So, I've heard both sides of this conversation about the things that we do to have ourselves in a negative socioeconomic position. And then I've seen the examples of what systemic racism has done to have us in this state. And I think that we're powerful, and it's our responsibility. Like, it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And that's when it comes to mental health, like, it's 100% that. Because again, like, people love to appropriate us. They love to take our culture. They love to emulate, they love to, like, look like Black women or talk like Black guys. But nobody's gonna come along and say, "Hey, Black people, you know what? Let's heal you." Like, that's our responsibility to do.
Yeah.
And we must. It's time.
Yeah.
I often don't think that Black people know that they need to be healed.
Yeah.
I could be. It sounds a little bit off for me to say that, but I feel like we have a stigma of resiliency. So when something goes left, we don't think maybe we should turn it right. It's just like, how can I get through the left? And I don't think we acknowledge the fact that sometimes we're broken and we do need healing.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to the original point we were talking about, where we just get to be human beings. Like,
Right.
I recently was at my friend's house. I hadn't seen my friend in a long time. I don't play about this COVID stuff, like, at all. So my girl was comfortable having people over. Well, not mad people, but like a few friends to meet her new baby that she had during COVID. And her and her partner, they have a great relationship. Their baby's just gorgeous. She's adorable. And even the two of them were talking about, like, man, it is hard with a baby in the house. It is all about the baby 24/7. And I'm talking about, these are two very active parents in this baby's life. And then you think about, how many people are doing this by themselves. I know some single dads too, so don't get it twisted. I do know some single Black dads, more than one. But think about how many people are doing this by themselves, and what it's doing to their mental health. And then and then they can't break down in front of their kids, really, because, like, we all know that Black parents have a problem showing their humanity to their kids until they're much older. And what does that teach the children? Like, what does that teach the kids about how to handle their mental health and how to navigate stress? So we're just learning these lessons that don't benefit us over and over. And that's why I always talk about it. Because to me, like, if people, like, when I came out about my mental health issues, it was after I had been hospitalized for being suicidal. And people watched me go from having like $55 in my bank account to now about to give a TED Talk and about to have it presented on Monday and about to debut the trailer for my play on a major news network, and, doing these things. Like, people saw that process. And so they got to see that, like, you can be super low, but come back from it and have a good life. Because that's the reason why I tried to take my life. I thought that there was no good life left for me. And then I found one. So I think that people need possibility models. And I think we kind of owe it to ourselves to be possibility models to each other.
If you don't mind me asking, what was going on in your life at that time?
I was in a really toxic relationship, and I lost my baby from stress. Yeah, like, I just stopped eating, stopped sleeping. And that, women in my family, they didn't do so good with stress in pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I lost my little man. I was about 6-7 months.
Wow. That's far
so,
long.
And and his dad didn't wait long to start cheating again. And I just lost myself. Like, I just drifted away, and I had no anchor. Like, I had the only person that I would even let be there for me was, like, my best friend. And she held on tight. Like, she crawled into the mud with me. She was the only person that really understood. And then by the time my family found out, I was so far gone that they just didn't even believe it was real. And they were kind of awful. Some more awful than others.
Wow.
So it was
family
hard.
can
Like,
be the worst.
how it is with a Black family.
Yeah, family can be the worst.
Thank you.
Because they think they know, but they don't understand. They don't understand.
I'm glad you said it. I can't word it no better.
Yeah, no, I love my family, but my family know that I'll check them in a minute, just because, like, we gotta keep it real, like let's be honest, people. Like, you're right. I think that sometimes, and I'm not gonna lie, hearing from where you are to hearing from where you were at to where you're now, it seems Herculean, but we do forget the humanity aspect. Like, I'm a human being. That, like a human being can only take so much. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. Like, if you're beat up and you're beat down, the humanity in that is that you gonna have low moments. You know what I'm saying? And I think that sometimes
I'm snapping right now.
Hey, well, no, I agree, because it's the same with me. I honestly, when I left and had to go to Houston, like I said, I'm running ads. I'm working my 9 to 5. I'm trying to teach my kids. I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to stay sane. And in all of that, like I had to admit, yo, I'm super beat up right now. And while I might have not broadcasted it at the time, I'm telling people now publicly, like I was not in a good spot. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if you don't know, you don't even know how to get out of that bad spot.
Exactly. Like you might not even have the language.
Exactly.
You might not even like a lot of people. The first time I had to go talk to a doctor about what I was going through, I didn't know the difference between anxiety and depression. I thought they were the same thing. So I ended up being prescribed the wrong medication, and I'm pretty sure that's how I ended up suicidal. Right. So if you don't even have the language to articulate anxiety or depression or manic or any of those things because you're too nervous to go to talk to a therapist, you know what I'm saying? Like then what's it's just not fair. Like a lot of times the black men too, like I know, like brothers be so scared to go to therapy. It's easier to convince the sister to go.
I still don't want to go.
Yeah.
I would rather talk to my homies than look.
Sometimes your homies don't know.
They
though.
don't.
Like
they don't. They don't.
And your homies are also biased.
They are biased.
Yeah.
But I also feel
it's a good point.
Confident in those that I share. But I agree, it's a stigma on it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good telling random people about my business that then can come back and tell me that I'm wrong. Right? That's probably what it is.
I have a question.
Wait.
Did you ever play sports in school?
Yeah, I played sports. I wasn't that good though.
What did you play? What sport did you play?
I played basketball, football.
Did you had a coach, I'm assuming?
Yes.
The expectation was for you to listen to your coach and communicate with your coach in a way for your coach to be able to optimize the way you play the game,
Correct.
Right? How is that different than therapy?
Get in his ass. Come on.
So can I be 100% honest? And I don't want this to be. I hope. Look, I'm gonna just say it. Unless I found someone who was African American therapist, like I probably wouldn't go see him. Honestly,
you can do that,
and I probably can.
I
probably can.
It's called culturally competent care, and it's advocated for.
Yeah.
You can call your insurance and say, "I want a black
that's
male
probably
therapist."
Because I just don't think, no disrespect. If you ain't been black, then it's probably a lot of stuff you just not gonna understand. That's how I feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's right or wrong. That has a lot to do
there
with
it. There is value in someone who understands your experience. So I get that. Like, you don't want to see a 65-year-old white woman because she doesn't know your plight. I get that. But like we said, in this good year, there's many, many resources to help you find.
This is true.
Someone who can understand your struggle, sir.
And she's 100% right. And therapy is not even what you think. Like when I'm a person that I don't like going to therapy. I never really liked it, but I appreciate it. I also don't like going to the gym, but I like wearing tight clothes. So I go and I wear it out so that I can wear whatever I want. I don't like going because sometimes I don't want to confront my mess. Yeah. Sometimes I don't want to have a very serious conversation about what I might need to change. But the same way I go to the gym so I can feel comfortable wearing whatever I want, I go to therapy so I can live the way I want to live. Ooh, it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Ooh, that was a bar.
I hear you. All right, so then let's talk about it then. We're going to go one step further and then we're going to get into the TED Talk and the musical.
But I have a question too. I don't know if it's the same question. I was wondering, because she was talking about language and being able to explain your needs. Can you give us like a short breakdown of what that sounds like? How does anxiety differ from depression? How does that differ from sadness? How does that work? Or what are the words that you should use when you're trying to explain how you feel?
Let me just say, this is already one of the most interesting interviews that I have done already. I appreciate this so much. So basically, the difference between, so first of all, depression and sadness are two different things, because with sadness, typically you could tell the difference is, first of all, sadness doesn't tend to last 2 or 3 weeks straight. If it does, you're kind of venturing into the territory of depression. And sadness is a healthy response to something you don't like or something that makes you uncomfortable. Sadness is actually healthy and meaningful because it's clarifying. It helps you identify that something don't work for you. And when a circumstance changes, sadness goes away. A circumstance could change with depression and you're still going to be sad.
Feel it.
So it could be somebody, like you go through a breakup and now you depressed and now you back with the person, but you still depressed. Like that's, that's depression. Anxiety is
I'm back with this bum nigga again. God damn it. Here we are.
Pretty much. And we have all been there. So, honey.
Okay. Wanted that old thing back, don't want it no more. Oh, damn.
Anxiety is kind of like you tend to, I don't know how to say this in an appropriate way, but you feel anxiety kind of like in your guts, like in your belly. Like if you get nervous and you got to poo, that's probably anxiety. Like anxiety is like nervousness. It's like when you feel that fight or flight. So basically, like anxiety is like if you at the beach and you swimming and you look over and you see a shark and you have that fear, that cold feeling in your heart. You feel that it's in like life when there's no shark. Yeah, like that panic feeling, but there's no shark there. It's just life itself is the shark or any circumstance. So you living with that low level nervousness. Then there's something with like
manic. What's that? Explain manic to us, please.
So manic is like when you have a sustained period of time of having like an irritable mood or really intense energy or racing thoughts or other like really extreme and exaggerated behavior. So that might actually be, that was how my ex found out that he was bipolar because he would have these manic episodes. I have PTSD and sometimes if I have a depressive episode, what comes after it is a little period of me being manic because we forget that mental health issues are chemical. It's just chemicals in your body and your brain. There might be a little weird here or there, might be a little imbalance here or there. And so one of the ways that my body creates balance is to balance the depression chemicals with a little bit of mania afterwards. I don't really have depressive episodes often anymore, but like if my depressive episode lasts for like a day or two, like if I have a spell of depression where I just feel down, then my mania might last for the same amount of time. And a lot of people experience this, but we don't have the language for it. And a lot of people we know self-medicate. They'll use weed, or they'll use liquor, or they'll use sex. They don't realize that they actually are trying to address mental health issues without going to a therapist.
I also feel like
you should go to therapy.
Right. On the same page as that, I feel like as Black people, we have the tendency to self-medicate, but B, I think a lot of us who are rooted in religion find that to be the route to get out. But you can't pray without doing the work, and that's not gonna solve the problems. I feel like we lean a lot on religion when it comes to things when we don't feel like it's quite right. But we're also not doing what needs to be done to pair with that to remedy our problems.
I agree 100%. And I would just say for anybody that feels like they can just pray it away, even if I'm not religious at all, but I'll say that in the Bible it says that God gave you free will and the expectation is that you will use it. So if you are given free will and you going through something, how do you know that this isn't your God's way of telling you, like, let me see what you do with your free will now that I give you. Let's see how you take care. You are a child of God. Let's see how you take care of my child. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for the prayer. Now hit the doctor. How about that?
How about that?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a bless you with a referral.
I love it. And it's real. It's real. Like, none of us want to have to do the work. Like, none of it. Please don't make it seem like just because I'm a mental health advocate that I want to do the work. No, I want to be on BS and I want to like respond to things with anger instead of having self-control. And I want to, cuss somebody out for hurting my friend. And I want to, just be reactionary just because I can. Like, sure, that would be great. Or I could just be my best self and have a healthy life. I choose healthy life.
There you go.
Hello.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Sorry, I deterred us.
Go
ahead, Kynard. I know you had a question.
We got the time. We live in our best lives. Talk to us about Get Out Alive. What is that about?
It's my baby. It's a musical about depression. I wanted to write a musical about depression. Like when I first got told to write it, I was not happy because I'm like, Like, that's dumb. Like, who would want to see a musical about depression? And I was like, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant because it's a musical, but about depression. Like, you would think that like, how could someone turn a depression into a musical? I talk about my suicide. I talk about the things in my childhood that led to some of my decision making that got me to a position where I could ever even be traumatized. Talked about my time in the hospital, and I talked about how I pushed through to get well. And I'm living with a mental illness now. Like, I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, but I am well. Like, I'm sane. I'm clear. I'm okay. And things don't run my life. My emotions don't control me. I control my emotions. So in that way, I got a leg up on a lot of people who don't got a mental illness.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is as in control of their emotions as I am. I'm not reactionary. And
Can I ask a question?
You know, yeah.
You were saying, where you said that mainly what I'm going to ask is, you know how some people say if you have an addiction, you're going to be an addict forever. It just comes and goes in spells. Does the same thing work when it comes to like depression and those sorts of mental illnesses? Can you say that I'm dealing with depression, or I have dealt with, or I'm no longer depressed, or does it come and go as it ebbs and flows potentially?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. So what happens with mental illness? Like, depression is something that you might have. So this is what people don't realize. Depression can be hereditary. So you might, like, having mental health issues could be something you inherit from your parents. I didn't realize it, but both of my parents, both of them, have dealt with depression and anxiety. And my mom actually was suicidal and tried to kill herself after losing a baby. And I never knew that until she found out about mine. So we don't know those things at the time. And, you know, I would say, so depression is something you can get past, right? It might come back again later in life. It might not. Some people, like, depression is something you can get past. For me, it's a little different because I have a trauma disorder, and my traumas will always exist, but how I react to them changes. That's the thing that I had to learn. Like, so they say that some people always have it. I personally do not think I'm just going to have PTSD for the rest of my life. I think that there will come a time when I no longer have a trauma disorder. And I think it just takes time of giving my brain enough time to not be reactive and to be healthy for my brain to say, you know what, you're safe. And then I don't have it anymore. That's what I believe. That's what keeps me going. So I'm going to just stick with that idea. Even if it don't happen until I'm in my 40s, I don't know. Like, it's worth it to hang in there and see it be better later to me. But even if I do have PTSD for the rest of my life, it's not the worst thing in the world. If you experience depression occasionally for the rest of your life, it's not the worst thing in the world. It don't got to control you. It's just very, very important that you know that that's what it is. And you take the power that you have to be like, okay, I'm just feeling like that right now. These are the things that I'm going to do. Or these are the things I'm not going to do. Or these are the people who cannot talk to me right now. And just be 100 about it. You get to do that. We do. We get to do that.
Oh.
Kynard's like, let me sit in
Look,
that.
no, look. I let her talk her piece. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In regards to the musical, did you write all the music yourself? I know it. Is it basically your story? You came up with the arrangements? And is this musical, is it going to be like a music video now that you're releasing? Or is it something that you are going to have like a premiere and it's going to be on stage?
So I wrote all the music. Some of the music I wrote before my mental break. Some I wrote during, and it literally sent me to the hospital. That's a whole thing. And then some of it, a little bit, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 songs I wrote after, like when I was stable and in a good place. And I wrote the play as I was going through the tail end of my suicide recovery. Right. It was being written across the final year of me giving up being actually suicidal. And because I have PTSD, right? So I still have moments where I look at life like, man, I got to hurry up and do this. I don't want to not be able to do it before I die. And I have to be like, wait a minute. No, you're not going to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was far worse at the time when I first started to play, and it kind of I documented it sort of through my recovery, and so the play deals with that, but like it's banging though. So like it's like a play about depression that slaps, and the music is all stuff I wrote and produced, or at least co-produced most of it, and yeah, I produced too. I have a couple songs that were produced by other people, these amazing people that I've had the pleasure to work with throughout my career. I partnered with my boy Matt Hennessy at VSOP Studios, which is my partner that I've been doing music with even before I had my mental break, when I first started having success as an independent artist. And it tells my story, but I have a cast. I call it a one-woman musical, but it's a cast of 4 people because they're all my songs and I wrote them. But these other people are they help me tell this story in the most effective way. They represent parts of me.
As it pertains to the music that you've written and produced for the musical itself, is it therapeutic in a sense to perform those pieces, or does it put you back in a place of like reliving those moments, or is it a good thing for you to do?
Such a good question. I want to say, because of me having the condition that I have, I relive it anyway. But through the play, I get to do it with context. So it's like I'm being intentional, and the emotions that I'm feeling around it are ones that I thought about before. Like it's reinforcing my current perspective on things. Like so it doesn't hurt to perform it. Like it doesn't hurt to look at it. It hurts when I resist it. It doesn't hurt when I lean forward toward it. It hurts when I resist. You understand what I mean?
Got it.
Yeah, so like in martial arts, I don't know if you ever took martial arts where they tell you lean into the blow, like use the momentum of somebody trying to attack you to take them off, to like kick their ass or whatever. Like that's kind of like what it is. Like you lean into the blow and use the momentum of the negative thing to benefit yourself.
Feel it.
So answer me this. If I'm not in Chicago, how can I check it out?
It is actually, I'm adapting it to film. So it's not even, we're not performing it right now at all in person. Because like I said, I take
this COVID is for real.
I don't want no COVID. Man, I super don't want COVID. Like super don't. Okay, I don't even want to find out like what it can do to me. I don't want to know. So we're doing it. We're filming it. So we had to have like COVID tests before we filmed. We had to like wear masks for like most of the time. There were a couple scenes where we didn't wear masks, but we all had to have tests, or we couldn't even do it. Like we couldn't even go on set without sending our test results to our producer. And we have to wash our hands repeatedly. So that was kind of interesting. So we didn't get to have a bunch of dates to film because it's so hard to do it if you follow the COVID guidelines.
Right.
But with that being said, though, like it's being filmed. It's being filmed. I want to say it's about 90% shot. There's a few little pickup things we need to do, and then we're editing it, and the trailer drops on Monday.
So the trailer comes out on Monday. When do you think you're gonna have a release date?
Yeah, it's January 30th, 2021.
Okay. Cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we need to keep our eyes and our ears for your
Instagram,
right?
Monday.
Okay.
Huh?
We got to stay glued to your Instagram so we know exactly where to pick it up when
I
it
was
drops.
just about to tell people, look, her Instagram is up on the live stream at Nikki Lynette. For those that are listening to the audio of the podcast, is Nikki is Nikki Lynette Lynette on Instagram. Hold on one second. And I think it's the same on Twitter, right? Nikki Lynette on Twitter as well.
Yeah, it's Nikki Lynette everywhere. Yeah, I can find me under that name everywhere. And the site where you can learn more about it, and we'll have the trailer on there too, is iGetOutAlive.com. So we sell tickets on there for the play, and you can see the trailer there too.
iGetOutAlive.com.
Yeah.
Maybe after it comes out, we can do a little group review. Yeah, a little recap. Let's talk about it.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be dope. Yeah, please. Absolutely. I'd love for you to see it. It's dope. It's It's as slapping as a play about depression could possibly be. I dare anybody to say that they have seen a play about depression that slaps more than mine.
Well, look, I
So
look
yeah, I'm
That's
forward
pretty
to it. It
proud
hilarious.
of
does
it.
actually sound interesting. I wanna see more about the story. I really do.
For sure.
Yeah, we don't get people that look like us who tell these stories the way that we tell them. And it's like I'm a black alternative chick. I'm from the
Yeah.
hood, from the block. And I all of that influence is in my play. I didn't go away from it. Like I didn't feel the need to hide that part of myself.
Well, you know
I
what?
kept that part of
Real
myself in
quick,
the play.
before you do that, what genres? Because you know what, I listened to the music. I went to your website. I went to your page, and your visuals are dope. And you're right. You definitely touch some different genres. Go ahead and let us know what genres your music is in before we let you go.
Like alternative hip hop and a little sprinkle of
With
pop.
a sprinkle of
A
pop.
sprinkle.
Before I even listened to the music, I told Kynard, I said, visually, she gives me like an alternative Janelle Monae.
Ooh,
Yeah.
uh, the compliment of it all.
That's
My
how I felt when I
ego.
said that. I
Those are
was
the
like,
vibes.
she's like Janelle Monae, but like just a little punk Janelle Monae a little bit.
Those are the vibes.
I'm not mad at that comparison. I'm not mad. That's high compliment. Thank you.
Once
Absolutely.
again,
The
guys,
music
we
slaps.
got Nikki Lynette, iGetOutAlive.com. She has a musical about depression. She wrote, co-produced the trailer.
About being
Yeah,
victorious,
right.
huh?
Overcoming. The trailer is out on Monday. They expect to release January 30th of 2021. Nikki, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. It was a joy having that conversation with you. And we definitely look to have you on again after you drop.
Thanks for educating
Thank you
us.
so much. And I look forward to hearing about how therapy is going for you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Woohoo!
Most definitely. I'll get that update next time we talk.
Thank
All
you.
right, you have a great night.
Bye,
You
Nikki.
too. Bye.
That was Nikki Lynette. That was a whole lot. And the truth is I hope, that it helped someone understand. She was dropping a whole bunch of gems in regards to the differences between depression, sad, anxiety, telling her story. I did check out the music. It was dope. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Her visuals were dope. And I look forward to it. I look forward to it. So we thank Nikki for joining the podcast, man. That's heavy, man. I'm glad she came on and talked about
It's
it
heavy,
though.
but it's important. You know what I mean? Something that we stray away from. So I think it was good that we kind of, dove head into it.
It's all about dope dialogue. We trying to have that conversation. And she
Word.
was she was dope, man. She was up front, very clear. She shared
Hmm.
about her story, and that's all we can ever ask. At that point, using her testimony to help other people. What dope dialogue's all about, people. Uh, that
Word.
being said, we are going to get into some news. We're gonna switch up. We're gonna talk about what's been going on in the world today. We got the news alert. All right, Brittany, what we got for news today?
I think we touched on it a little earlier when we were talking, well, before we began our conversation about depression and whatnot. But there's been a very high onset of violence and conflict in hip hop in the past couple weeks. Um, we had Mo3 that just passed away recently. He was shot in the back of the head on the highway in, was it
Yeah, it
Dallas?
was
I believe
Dallas.
in Dallas. He actually got shot last December in the head. Made it through that, but didn't make it through this one. Also, the following week or so, Boosie was in Dallas. He was at Big T Plaza, and there was a lot of conflicting information about whether or not he actually got shot. But good old TMZ. they reported that he was a patient at a hospital and he was being treated for wounds. So he got shot in the leg. He got shot through the Sprinter van at the plaza. And then who else? Benny the Butcher was in an attempted robbery situation in a Walmart parking lot. He also got shot. There was speculation that he was being followed. So there's a lot going on right now as far as um, our I don't want to call them leaders per se, but our artists that people are really invested in, and there's high potential of losing these guys. It seems like the past few
Yeah,
weeks.
I mean King Vaughn as well. He got shot out in
You're
Houston
right.
by Quando Rondo. And you know, for my older members, these are younger kids in hip hop, but y'all know Boosie Badass, and I'm not sure if you're Benny the Butcher from Griselda. Mo 3 was part of the younger generation. Uh,
Wasn't he signed to
he was
Boosie's?
signed to Boosie's label. Boosie actually, I think,
Right,
was going to a vigil for Mo
right.
3. I was a fan. I'm in Texas, so I'm up on Texas hip hop. I know who the people are, and for me, Mo 3 got me because actually he, in a way, I felt like his music was passionate, a lot like Tupac, and he talked about um he talked about that life, that he lived. And unfortunately, being a rapper, especially with the subject matter that they talking about, in regards to their lives and the lives that they lead, like this is a part of it. You know what I'm saying? As well, um, when you got a little bit of fame and you got a little bit of money, you do become a
Mm.
target. Uh,
Yeah, you can't come from the streets and then not have the streets follow you on your way
Yeah, I
out.
mean, rarely do you make it to a Jay-Z status. That's just rare. Where you can get all the way out and transition, and now you running, streaming services and it's rare because you do become a target. And as Boosie said, a lot of times, it happens in your own city, but Benny is from Buffalo. You know,
Right.
so then the question remains: was it random? Did somebody see him and was like, "Oh, they all got their chains on"? You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of
I
Benny.
heard about Benny that there was like speculation that he was being followed for a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
jewelried out the
yeah.
game.
Well, a
People knew
lot
where
of
he
them
was
dudes is
at.
gonna wear their jewelry because it's the stigma. They bosses. You know,
It's hip
it's hip
hop,
hop.
baby.
So the thing with Mo 3, it said, it was reported that he was followed from a lady's house to a gas station. He noticed it, and at that point, how did the dude know he was there? Was the lady in on it? Like there's
Probably.
so many things. You just gotta watch who you dealing with. But I was more shocked when I read the story about Mo 3 because I would have thought that he would have had some known him, right? The story read that he was in the car, he crashed the car, and then he got out and ran. You know, Once again, based on his music, I would
Mm.
have thought, but I don't know his legal situation, whether or not. But at that point, it's the same thing. Um, all these dudes really. The Vaughn situation, King Vaughn, and he had beef with Quando Rondo, and of course those are young kids, 26 years of age, caught up in an industry beef, and I don't even know what the reason for it was. Watching that video, it looked like it was gonna be fisticuffs, and Quando was about to take that L because it was a whole bunch of dudes approaching him. Now he didn't back
Hmm.
down. When King Vaughn walked up on him, like he walked up on him and was like, "Yo, what's good?" And so it's just all very unfortunate. It's sad. Um, More than anything, it's a bad situation now because these guys are not performing. Chances are they're
Yeah.
in their home. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have anything to do. making music is one thing, but a lot of these kids are on the road performing. And so a lot of times they
Right.
not, they don't even have time to really kind of cross paths like that. So I don't know, man. To me, it was sad to see the rash of violence, but I understand it, man. We going through a pandemic. There's a lot of rappers not making the money they say they making. And they ain't got nothing to do but beef.
Speaking of beef, though, Jeezy and Gucci, that's a versus that's
That's
happening
crazy.
that apparently the culture is really excited about.
Are you gonna pay attention? But look, so the thing for that, but is because they got beef. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably pay attention because Gucci Mane, posted a meme in regards to the Jeezy's friend that he killed, in self defense, and so
Eh.
I'm gonna probably pay attention just to see how it go. But they got legit beef.
Mm.
I haven't really watched a lot of them since Teddy Riley and Babyface.
That was a disaster.
I didn't really. I mean, I peeked in on Monica and Brandy, but I'm gonna watch this one. I'm a fan of Jeezy. I became of Jeezy and his music. I really wasn't a fan of Gucci Mane's music outside of So Icy. Other than that, he just released so much. I could never keep up with him. I think somebody said, Gucci got the streets, but Jeezy gonna have, overall. So I'm interested. What about you?
Yeah. Would I be alive if I said I was super? Yeah, I'd be alive. I'm not that
Okay.
interested, to be honest. I wasn't ever really a strong fan of either. She's not of the streets. Um, I would say if I had to pick one though, I would pick Jeezy, I think. Because I feel like Jeezy has more of the commercial bops, and I feel like Gucci has more of like the mixtape hood anthems
Yeah,
that
yeah,
everybody
yeah, yeah,
loves. But
yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to the mixtapes when they were like
He
really
put out a
popping
ton of
like that.
music, and I'll catch it every now and again, but I wasn't on Gucci Mane like that, you know. But
Yeah, I just remember Jeezy having some
oh
bops when I
man,
was in
Jeezy
college,
went
and
hard.
it was like it was anthems.
Yeah, Jeezy went hard. And I think Gucci went hard. I became more of a Gucci fan after he kind of got out of prison, and I seen, you know what I'm saying, and him and his
He has great
woman, and they
veneers.
marry, and so what'd you say?
He has great veneers. If it's about
Yeah, well,
teeth,
his
he
teeth is
wins.
banging. So what else we got in the news?
What else we got? Oh, Fresh Prince. There's a reboot that's on the way. HBO Max. I'm excited. I watched a trailer. Both on Vivs are there.
How they gonna
Hello.
do it with both on Vivs though?
I'm willing to find out. I don't care. I want all of them to be there with light skin out Viv, and then the doorbell rings, and then dark skin at Viv
Well,
walks
then my
in.
question is, I feel like the world need like more Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? World need more Will Smith. Will Smith make everybody laugh, and maybe he can, maybe he
Because
can make the world happy and more positive. All right, what else we got?
what else we got today? Uh, wait, what was our next one? We had
Oh, we
another
got
one.
Instagram. Instagram got the
Oh,
update.
the
Yo, what do
format.
y'all think for those that's on Instagram? I don't like it. I don't like where the shop button is. That's where it's like they strategically was like, oh, we gonna fuck them up with this one. We gonna go in here and put the shop store where they likes
There's
was
a
at.
couple things though, right? There's a couple things. Did you notice they did the integration with Facebook
I like
Messenger?
that.
That's okay. It's all right. I did accidentally message someone via Facebook through Instagram. I thought this shit is fucking weird. Like, why do we need to do all of this? But okay, whatever. They added the colors to the DMs. They added reactions to particular messages instead of just double tapping for a heart. But I think the biggest thing is like how you add things to your Instagram grid and your stories and your reels, and then also the placement of the Instagram shop, which is good for small business, I guess.
I mean, I
Because I
get
feel
it, but
like
is it that many people that that you got to put the shop in their face like that. Like if I want to shop, I'm gonna just go to the business page and like I'll click. And the only thing I can think is, algorithm wise, they're trying to cater to businesses. But I mean, are they trying to be Amazon? Because that's the only thing I thought. And I don't. When I go to Instagram, rarely am I buying. Matter of fact, I can tell you on I've never bought anything off Instagram. Not like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not buying shoes from Instagram.
From what I can understand is like it doesn't reroute. You don't necessarily reroute out of the app. You can buy within the app through all these Instagram shops that you probably already follow or follow something like them, I suppose.
Oh, okay. I just went to one. One said view on website. This one says
Whoop.
buy on Instagram. The LeBron shoe. Oh, so
It's
yeah,
so
it's a
funny how
cart.
different.
You can add the cart
Yeah,
directly in the thing.
maybe that's not a bad look. I wonder how much money Instagram makes from this.
Good question.
I wonder if you buy directly through Instagram without the reroute, if they getting a little couple quarters off that
Well, and
shit.
the other thing is, I sell T-shirts, as y'all can see. Do dope. Um, as well as hoodies. So maybe I'll list mine on here. But
See? Oh, now look at him. Now he want to
maybe.
go on and put it
Oh
up.
shit!
He ain't mad no
No, I just
more.
said I don't buy. I do sell though.
What about fleets? How do you feel
Look,
about
I don't
fleets?
know what Twitter is doing with the Twitter stories and the
They said we
fleets.
gonna roll it
I have
out.
no clue.
Facebook got it, Instagram got it, Snapchat been had it. We got to do something, right? This is where the toxic people play.
And then you got Clubhouse. I was invited to Clubhouse for those that are watching and don't or listening. Clubhouse is an app where basically it's a uh, audio conference where a whole bunch of people jump on. It's a lot like podcasting and have conversation. Um,
And then Kynard invited me to
yeah,
Clubhouse, and he said, "Get on the damn
get on the
Clubhouse. Stop being
Clubhouse. This
anti."
might be an opportunity, but then I heard Twitter is about to add the same functionality. So there's a lot of changes in the social media world. I think that a lot of this is to capitalize off a pandemic. Once again, people are
Hmm.
positioning themselves to be one-stop shops to steal all of your time. Uh,
Let me tell you about. I took my. I was telling y'all about my list and taking my grandma to lunch. So I took her to lunch, and we were talking about social media, which she doesn't understand. She's 85. She has no clue what the fuck is
yeah,
going on. She can barely tell the difference between a laptop, an iPad, and a phone. Why do you need them all? She says. I said, you have a point. All right, whatever. But she also said, she was like, so someone told me to look up something. I was talking to your auntie, and she said, look, have Brittany show it to you on Facebook. And I said, I didn't see it on Facebook. I think I might have seen something on Instagram. And she said, well, do they do the same things? And I said, yeah, pretty much, sort of, kind of. And she was like, do you have them both? I said, yeah. Why do you have them both? And I was like, she's like, what's the other one with the bird? Tweedledee or whatever they call it? I said, it's
love old
Twitter.
people.
Well, you have that too? I said, yes, I do. Is there any more? I said, there's Snapchat, there's Clubhouse, there's LinkedIn. She goes, you have all those? I said, yeah. That's why you be on your phone all the time, huh?
Socials.
You don't need all those. You said you can look at pictures and videos and talk to people and call people on all of them. I said, yeah. And she said, you guys do too much on those phones. You don't need all those things. And I was like, whatever, old lady.
It definitely
You
has
might have a
changed.
point, but I don't want to hear
It's
about it.
definitely changed the world. Even
For sure.
so, what I'll say about social media is I always felt like I was at the cusp. I was an AOL baby. I was at the beginning of the internet. I remember when there wasn't an
Hmm.
internet. I remember when
The little three things, and they would
yeah, I
load up.
remember when you couldn't
Yep.
communicate with somebody outside a pager or phone. I remember putting quarters in a payphone. I'm that old, right?
I remember.
And I remember I'm gonna tell you what changed the internet was porn. Porn, like instantly overnight, was like it went from this good tool to communicate to this tool for evil. You know what I'm saying? And then it just
This might be a
then
hot
they
take.
put it
Go
on the
ahead.
phone and it just changed everything, right? And so then you had like Yahoo
I can have it
Messenger,
all.
you had all of this stuff, right?
Remember the chat
Oh,
rooms?
I was in the chat rooms heavy. I was in I was on the
ASL.
chat room. I was in Yahoo Messenger heavy. A matter of fact, I was
A dash.
catfishing. I was
Oh
Shamar
gosh.
Moore. Yeah, like I was all kinds of people that I wasn't real. I was sending fake photos. I was all of that. I would have never imagined that it became what it is today. And I still think it has positive benefits. I believe that it gives people a platform. We wouldn't be able to do this without social media or without the internet. We are broadcasting on YouTube, we're broadcasting on Twitch, we're broadcasting on Facebook. So it gives a platform. It also created the opportunity for people to change their lives, to have a voice, to assemble, to be able to protest. So there are many positive things, but man, it's a lot of negative things that come with social media. And sometimes
Hmm.
I believe we probably should put our phone down. Manifest said, Britt was like, you may have a point, but I don't want to hear about that. Facts. Most
Period.
don't.
Let me be on my phone, sis.
Most don't.
Let me be on my damn phone, old lady.
Facts.
You watch your stuff on TV. Let me be on my
The world
phone.
has changed in a minute. 20 years from now, social media look drastically different because it always evolves. And to a certain extent, there is nobody in charge of it. You know, the people with the money
Mm.
develop apps like Clubhouse to try and engage and have participants and followers.
How do you feel about Clubhouse? How do you like being in the club?
Oh, I don't.
I don't like being in
I
the
don't.
club.
I mean, I get that it's invite only right now, but the only question I have is how can I use it to my benefit in regards to networking? You know, when I got in late, based on what they was telling me, a lot of the big wigs and like you could like I've been in a couple of chats with Joe Budden and he been talking. I haven't spoke. I've been in a couple chats with Spectacular. Uh
Like Pretty Ricky
yeah, Pretty
Spec?
Ricky Spectacular.
Pretty Ricky, Ricky,
Yeah.
Ricky.
And so
Huh.
the thing that I notice about it
Sorry.
is that it's almost 80% African American, which was really crazy to me because like dang, they did
Blackety
yeah.
black.
And
It's
it's
blackety
blackety
black in
black,
there.
and I noticed that some of the people didn't like there are rooms in there, and like a name of a room could be Dope Dialogue Podcast, and then all of y'all that's watching the podcast, y'all would jump in the room, and we would have conversation over audio. There would be no video, and so it would be a great way to have interviews like we just did with Nikki Lynette. And then we could open up that interview to more people in the room, talk about our experiences, right? So I think that it could be positive, but one of the people complained about one of the rooms being named do you wash your pussy with soap or water? And I was like or with soap and water or something else. And really it was a shock tag because the lady who hosted the room was selling feminine products, but she was using
Mm.
a shock tactic to bring people into the room so she could
Clickbait.
sell her product. And so a
Hmm.
couple of the people were like, 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't have saw that. The millionaires and the billionaires that had been on the app, it was said that they kind of wanted to hide out because a lot more regular folks started showing up. Uh, I don't feel like it's that exclusive because you got about 40 to 50 grand in there right now. But I do want to use it, just to kind of be in a situation to network with other individuals. And when they take it public, I might be able to create a platform out of it. So, yeah, I'm interested. But as far as being in the club, it is what it is.
I will say that it's like slightly different than all the other social medias because I feel like with the majority of them, there is an element of like curation to it. Whether it's like Twitter and you think about some witty shit to say, oh, this is gonna slap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that. Bow. Or if it's on Instagram, like, oh, I'm about to edit this photo. I'm gonna post that. Then I'm gonna do this. It's a highlight reel of your life. Bow. Got that. I guess the same for Facebook too. You can curate anything really on all the other socials, but on good old Clubhouse, people are literally just talking, and there's no visual presence at all, which is different than what we've become accustomed to. We're used to like looking at a
yeah,
lot or having the option to see a video or a photo, maybe in relation to some words or whatever, some audio, but this is
yeah.
literally
I
just folks
also
talking.
think that getting rid of the visual allows you to really have some dope dialogue. I think that our visual is dope, and this is a great way to live stream because I believe that people want to be able to come in and participate. But if we're really talking podcasting, that's more of an audio format. I would tell you right now, even
Hmm.
though that me and you were doing this live stream, as soon as I upload the audio, I have, anywhere from 15 to 30 downloads weekly of people who are listening to us, but they haven't been able to check out the live stream for whatever reason. I think that you're right. I like the dynamic that they bring up maybe 5 or 6 people onto the stage. Right now, it's respectful. Everybody gets a chance to speak. Everyone gets to say their piece. And then there's some dialogue. If you're in the audience, you can raise your hand and say, hey, I have something. They'll bring you up onto the stage and you can talk. And so I just think, for me, I'm interested. It's something that I listen to while I'm working, right? While I'm doing what I got to do at my 3 different monitors, right? While I'm out here managing work, I'll throw up the phone. But this morning, I'm not gonna lie, I jumped on at 6:30. Joe Budden was in there. He spoke briefly. Then they started talking about smoking weed. I'm like, it's 6:30 in the morning. I don't have time for it. Now I understand that y'all can do that, but I got some work to get to. I don't care if it's indica or sativa at this point. I thought that we was about to have an interesting conversation and y'all just talking about smoking weed. I can do that at the crib. So that being said, it is what it is. But it'll be a new app, whether or not it'll reach Instagram level or Facebook level. We always looking for the new thing. You know, we always looking for the new thing.
Feel it.
So look, we want to say thank you for joining us. We hope that you got some gainful information from us today. We really loved having Nikki Lynette on the show. We look forward to checking out her musical. Once again, the trailer drops Monday. Her social is Nikki Lynette, NIKKILYNETTE, no space, on Instagram. Look, I want to check out Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Plus, I got some other things going on. We like to say thank you for joining us. We gonna see you next week. For my co-host Brittany King, the homie Kynard, and we out.